Hello and welcome back to the High and Tight podcast on GameTimeCT, the baseball podcast for high school baseball in Connecticut. I'm Scott Ericson. We are joined as always by Pete Paguaga. Pete, welcome back, my friend.
I am so pumped that we are here. Before we even recorded, I think we sat and talked for 45 minutes just about baseball.
I was like, we should start recording this. This is good stuff.
But yeah,
There's some gold in here.
Some of our best stuff doesn't get recorded, but I mean, it's just great to be back. Another baseball season here. I believe 18, 19, 21, 22. This is our 5th season doing this show. Happy anniversary to us.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah, I mean, it should be our 6th, but 2020 didn't happen. But 5 years of doing this, we have an unbelievable, fan base and kids who listen to the show and coaches, and it's just great to be back for another year.
I love this. I mean, it's one of my favorite things. And you were like, "Can we record?" And I was like, "Absolutely." Like, "Do you want to do it? Wait till next week?" I was like, "No, let's do it now.
Let's just get it out. We'll get a preview.
Next week, we'll get some coaches, players on. We'll do all that stuff." But Pete and I wanted to hop on and just talk a little bit of baseball before the season starts. Season's supposed to start Saturday. It's going to rain probably, but on the schedule there are games tomorrow. So maybe we'll have to wait till Monday or Tuesday. But the season is ready. You've been to a practice. I've been to a practice. You were at practice the day after the basketball championships. First day.
It was a beautiful day, so I had to go out, had to go see my guy, Coach Romanelli, the new coach over at North Haven. I'm pretty confident him and I crossed over playing high school baseball against each other at the JV level. He went to a rival high school of mine on Long Island. He probably doesn't remember me because I was not a memorable baseball player. But, he's taken over that program that, Bob DeMeo was the coach there for over 60 years, 900 wins, 5 state championships. So no pressure, Joe. We're hoping to have Joe on the show this year as well. But I went to go see them, catch up with them and a couple of the captains. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then I was at Ward yesterday. Ward, who is the number 1 team in the GameTimeCT poll that came out yesterday. They have such an incredible program, and you would think, oh, they lost this kid and that kid from the state championship team, they're going to take a step back, but I don't know, man. They got 13 kids committed to college. Every kid who's coming out of the bullpen is committed to go play college baseball. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's wild, and we would definitely talk about them at length. It's either on this show or during the year, because I definitely think they are a team that we need to keep an eye on. But with all that comes pressure.
Oh, lots of pressure. Absolutely. I mean, and they had a little last year because they were highly ranked, but it's different once you win the state championship and then have to come back and do it again. So, and baseball's so hard. Like, it's just such a hard sport. I think it's the hardest sport to play consistently and really well. So nothing is given, and then Ward's also, like, we'll talk about it later, but they're opening the schedule just a brutal road trip, which is awesome, but can also be really hard. Like, if you come out of that 1-3 or something, like, not so awesome then. But it still prepares you for the state tournament where they should find themselves regardless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's start by taking a quick look at that top 10 poll. Again, you can find the top 10 poll, our 25 players to watch, and our games to watch and storylines all on GameTimeCT. And there's also, softball coverage over there, lacrosse, if that's your thing. I don't think anyone who listens to this is that, but if you are, there's awesome lacrosse coverage by Mike Fornabayo, who makes lacrosse fun, So let's look at that. Let's look at that top 10. So when we start to look at the poll here, number 1, well-deserved is Fairfield Ward. They were 25-3 last year, 1 double L, and they bring a bunch of kids back, and they reloaded with kids who were on JV last year but have committed to college. So like we said, they have 10 kids coming out of the bullpen, or 10 pitchers, a bunch of them that are coming out of the bullpen that are all committed to college. They're well deserving of that number 1 ranking this year until someone knocks them off. And they do play a really, really hard schedule to start. Number 2 is Southington. They were the runners up last year in Double L, and from all indications, bring back a lot of talent this year. I definitely considered putting them number 1, but I just thought Ward deserved it. Windsor came in number 3. They did pick up a first place vote. Windsor lost a bunch of kids from their 24-1 Class L championship team, but it's always a strong program up there. And I don't know if they're going to reload quite in the same way that Ward did, but they're good. Staples comes in at number 4. Seems like every preseason poll that Staples is ranked, but you got USC bound Hero Wyatt pitching, you got Chris Zajac pitching, and you got a lot of really talented kids in the lineup. So Staples is 4. Fairfield Prep picked up a number 1 vote. They are our 5th team. From all indications, they are loaded this year, and we think Fairfield Prep is going to be very, very good. They've had a lot of success in the SEC tournament. We'll see if they can do it on the state level, where they have not won since 1985. Number 6 is Newington. Newington lost to Southington in the quarterfinals last year. Brings back a lot of really good players, including one of my favorite players, Josiah Ross, who might be the fastest kid in Connecticut baseball. Had 20 steals last year, scored 30 runs. Love that kid. Took him in our fantasy draft. And then number 7 is St. Paul, the defending Class S champions. Obviously, they've lost Ryan Daniels. They lost some kids to transfer, but they have kids like Devin Koulis back. And I think St. Paul will be solid again, especially playing out of the NBL. Number 8 is Xavier out of the SEC. We think that they're going to be really good too. They bring a lot of kids back. While they did take some losses, they bring a lot of really talented kids back. Number 9, Trumbull. Trumbull's always in the mix. They're one of those programs that they're always in the FCI playoffs. They're always, it seems like, in the Class AA quarterfinals or semifinals. They made the semis last year, and they lost to Ward 4-1. And then the number 10 team is a team that I don't recall being in the top 10 recently, and that's Law. But Law's got two really good junior pitchers, and Hunter Hoxie and Declan Woboda. And I think Law is going to be really solid. The SEC is obviously a great conference, and they're going to have a tough schedule, but I like Law. Pete, what do you think of the top 10?
What stands out just right away is you're seeing a lot of these, kind of like, I don't know how to explain them, but they're programs, right? Ward, Southington, Windsor, Staples, Prep in the top 5. So you cannot go wrong with any of those 5. I am surprised to see Amity not here in this top 10. Yes, it has been a while since they have reached a state final, but this is, that's a program that is consistently one of the best teams every year. They went 19
They were 19-4 last year.
Yeah, okay. I'm like looking at certain teams. A couple stand out that kind of are head scratchers. Newington at 6, I think, is really high. I think they're a super talented program. Ran into Southington, who went to the finals. So there's no shame in that. I think I voted St. Paul 15th in my preseason poll, because though I do know they have a lot of talent, I didn't vote them. They were number 3 last year in the final poll, and I don't think I had them in my top 10, just because of the road it takes for them to win a state title as a private school. Xavier, again, kind of like Prep and St. Paul in a way, where they're going to have kids that are coming through that we don't know who they are yet. They're going to be competitive. Trumbull, always in the mix. Like you said, they always win. They're always good to win a couple of games in the state tournament. Ran into Ward in the semis. I mean, they were, 1 game away from going to the finals. Law, very interesting, but when you have 2 top pitchers, like you mentioned, in Hunter and Declan, like, you're dangerous, especially in the SEC. They're a Class M school. That's going to benefit them really well, having 2 arms. It's interesting seeing some of these teams. I like St. Joe's this year. I think they have a lot of talent. Maloney get no love after going to the L finals last year. I think East Catholic's going to be good. They're going to be in the mix. Hand is always good. I love Notre Dame West Haven. They have the two big guys back, in Kevin Maluski, and I'm blanking on the other kid's name, but they are studs. Notre Dame made a run to the L semifinals last year. They have a lot of those guys back. Woodland get no love either. I mean, Belcher's back. So I think there's so many good teams. And you mentioned it in your poll. Only 2 teams that were ranked in the preseason poll last year finished the season in the top 10. So,
and Windsor, which only lost 1 game, got 0 votes in the preseason poll last year.
Yeah.
So baseball is obviously, everyone that's involved with baseball knows that teams can come out of nowhere. Teams that are ranked high lose a few games, or a pitcher goes down, or you get some bad luck here or there. And baseball's funny that way. It's not like the other polls where it's like, when I do girls basketball, most of that top 10 is the top 10 at the end of the year. You have 6 or 7 teams every year that go from the preseason to the final poll. Baseball is not like that. It's a crazy sport. And that's one of the reasons why I just love this. I love high school baseball.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. There are going to be players that we're going to see and teams that are going to kind of come out of not nowhere, but they're going to just start rising, and you're going to be like, oh, they're 8-0. Oh, they're 9-0. Oh, they're 10-0. Oh, they're making a run in the playoffs. Like, you look at the ECC, there's not one ECC team in this top 10, and Fitch is always a monster. Apparently East Lyme is really good this year. I don't believe there's an SWC team in this top 10 either. A lot of good stuff coming out of Bethel. Massick is always competitive. Newtown's
going to be really solid.
Yeah, Weston is a good program. So like a lot, and then obviously New Fairfield. So there's a lot of stuff coming we're gonna see it all kind of shake out in the first couple of weeks of the season. My only issue with the poll with baseball is, a lot of people vote in it like it's football. And I remember last year when Ward lost to someone in the regular season, and they lost to Ridgefield. And I didn't budge. I kept Ward as the number one
run
team.
Game, yeah.
Yeah, I was at the game. I kept Ward as the number one team, and I never flinched. Every week they were the number one team in my poll because I just thought they were the best team. And I think with baseball voting, that's a little bit different than football voting. And I was proven to be correct. I think Ward lost 2 games in 1 week, and I was voting them one. And one of our coworkers was like, how is Ward still getting number one votes? And I was like, it was me. They are the best team. It's baseball. You have your best team on the field once out of every 3 games. That's how baseball works. Okay.
Right.
You're judging a team because they had exactly. You're judging a team because they lost with their number 3 or number 4 on the mound. I mean, it's hard. It's not easy voting in this poll, but thank God it all always shakes out towards the end of the year.
And if you're playing we've seen teams go undefeated in the FCI SEC, but it's so hard, and like so many things have to go right for you, and it's a crazy run you have to go on to be undefeated in baseball when you're in a big conference. We see it in the smaller conferences sometimes, but when you're playing these big boys every day, and every team has college commits, and every team has kids who are throwing in the 90s, like when we talk about that top 25 to watch list of the kids that we put on that list, almost all of them we put college commits. Some of them are juniors that haven't committed yet. Some are seniors that haven't committed yet. But we left off kids. I left off multiple kids who in the prospectus says he's hitting 90 something on the radar gun. He's throwing this. He's going to play at this college. And it's like, we can't put them all on there. I could make a top 50 list and still leave kids off because baseball in Connecticut has gotten so good in the last 10 years. And the last 2 or 3 years, it's off the charts, the amount of kids that we have that are going to play Division I or college baseball somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, the 25 the watch list is just a list of like a third of the college commits in this state.
Right.
It's absurd. It's absurd. I mean, you look at it and I'm just looking at it now here at the bottom of the list. You got Hero Wyatt who's going to USC, and you're like, oh, wow, Staples has a kid going to USC. Yeah, by the way, their other pitcher is going to play at the University of Indiana. Like, that's awesome. And then you look and you just look at the different schools, and it's not just FCAC. It's not just SCC or SWC. Connor Lane from the Shoreline is going to UConn. He's unbelievable as a baseball player, as a catcher. He's hitting 90 on the gun as a sophomore last year. And you look at some of these teams, like a kid like Kyle Kipp. Kyle Kipp might be the best pitcher in the state. I don't know how West Hill is going to do this year. They've had much more talented teams the last 2 years. We'll see what this group is made of. But they still have Kyle Kipp, which makes them dangerous which makes them, you could argue, the best team in the state every time he's on the mound.
And then their second pitcher is Eric Osterhaus, who is a 6'3" Fordham commit. So it's like their second pitcher is really good too. Like we'll see what their lineup's like, but you're gonna have to scratch out a few runs if you're gonna beat these beat a team like West Hill with those 2 kids on the mound. And there's kids all over the place like that. The one kid on that list that I'm most excited to see how he does coming back from the injury is TJ Wynn up at East Catholic.
Yeah.
Pitcher slash first base. It's not easy to come back from that injury, obviously, but kids do it nowadays. I thought East Catholic would have been really good last year with him. They took a little bit of a step back, obviously, from what they were with Frankie and the state championship team, but I think they're going to come back this year and be pretty strong up in the CCC.
Yeah, TJ is the one who stands out the most to me on this list of a player that I absolutely have to see. I mean, the last time he started a game in high school was the Class M semifinals. And
that's right. Yeah.
And he pitched masterfully in that game, led them to the finals. And then obviously Frankie did his job. So I'm really excited to see TJ. And to be honest, I'm really excited to see Griffin Polly at Ward. He's a kid who did not pitch for the majority of last year, right? Played third base, DH, best bunter in the state. I will take no Griffin Polly slander, but he pitched really well down the stretch when he came back. And I'm excited for him to take over. Look, there's a big hole on that Ward team, and it's not just in the lineup, and it's not just on the mound, but it's in the heart. It's in the emotion. It's in what's going to make this team run, right? Zach Broderick is at Merrimack, and Zach was the heart that made that team go. And I'm really interested to see which Ward player is going to step up. It could be Polly. It could be Larson. It could be Galvin. It could be one of the kids who was on JV last year. So I'm really excited to see that because, Coach Connor, that Ward team under Connor, like they thrived off of that energy, that rah-rah guy. Even Roman DiGiacomo kind of had it as well. So I'm
it's one thing to be a talented player. It's one thing to be a talented player, but it's another thing to have that bulldog heart that those kids had, where it's like, you're not beating me. Like, I don't care what you do, you're not beating me.
Yeah.
Like that's not taught. That's just something that those kids had.
And you kind of look at some of this list, like my guy Eli Fangilio from Windsor. I love Eli. Just quick little story about him. Really good center at football and a very good swimmer on the Windsor swim team. And
I did not know that.
Yes, very good swimmer for Windsor. And, they lost a lot. Mason Glickman, Jonathan Lattimore, like those were the guys. Lattimore was the heart of that team behind the plate. Glickman, as on the mound at third. It's Eli's time. It is Eli's time to be the guy. So I'm excited to see these players now stepping into the shoes, the big shoes that were left in front of them or before them. So I'm really excited to see who are those guys who are going to kind of come into their own there.
Yeah, and like you said, there's guys that are not on this list who we're going to be talking about at the end of the year as being some of the best players in the state, probably. We know that certain guys will maintain that all through the year, but there were guys last year that stepped up and through the season where all of a sudden we started talking and we're like, hey, what about this kid over there? Like he's throwing up huge numbers. He's dominating. I mean, talk about the pitcher from Danbury, Ditchler. Like he was 9-0 last year. Won some huge games in the state. Like
dominated.
Awesome. Like,
I was at Palmer Field. He dominated Xavier with a very, very talented lineup, including Drew Crone. Shout out to Drew. Got his first couple of RBIs for UConn the other day against Hartford. Him and Ryan Daniels are getting playing time there, which is just incredible to see.
That's the other thing that Pete and I have been talking about over the last couple of weeks is we follow these kids when they go to college, and there's so many kids from Connecticut now who aren't just going to play in college. They are playing really well in college, and they're starring on their team. And
so let's just talk about Matt Scott then, because Matt Scott, player of the year.
He's like the best pitcher. He's like the best pitcher of the Pac-10.
Pac-12 pitcher of the week last week goes
Pac-12.
8 innings of shutout ball. I watched his first start. I forgot where I was. I was at a game. It had to be maybe a championship game or whatever it was. And I was sitting there and I just threw it on my laptop and I was watching it. And here he is pitching in the Pac-12. His first start didn't go as great as he wanted it to, but he looked like he belonged. And then you start looking at his stats and you're like, holy crap. He's got 3 years there. So, anything's possible, but it's just so great to see these kids. Chad Knight is killing it up at Duke. And he came back from injuries, hitting the absolute cover off the ball. So it's really nice to see.
A little bit of a Hofstra, West Virginia last week, and Kevin Brueggemann from Trumbull hits a home run. Zach from New Canaan, Zach Rampin from New Canaan's the catcher for West Virginia. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah, all
It's
kids
awesome.
that we talked about on this show at length. And it's really great to see. I'm going to ask you a really weird question, though, and I don't know if you're going to want to do it, but who is your maybe prediction? Let me get 3 players who you think could be the player of the year, and then 1 dark horse.
Ooh, 3 players who could be our player of the year. I'll start with Kyle Kipp. Like, he has the ability to just dominate everybody. He dominated everybody last year. His ERA was below 1. Like, he struck out 90 kids in 50 innings or whatever it was. I'll take him number 1. I'm going to go with Garrett Larson, the shortstop from Ward. He's one of those kids that can jack a home run and then the next time bunt and then steal bases. And he's also a great shortstop. So I'll go with him. Josiah Ross, my dude up in Newington. Like, that guy, I'm ready for him to have a huge year. So I'm going to pick him. And then my dark horse. Ooh, a dark horse to be the player. Let me just take a quick look at my list here. I got a whole list.
I got to have the dual screens up.
I got a whole list of kids here. Here's a dark horse for you. Kyle Garbowski, New Fairfield, pitcher, shortstop, 6'3", Quinnipiac commit. Hit 360 last year, pitched really well. Maybe he has just an awesome, huge year up in the SWC. So he's my dark horse.
Wow.
Garbowski.
Okay.
How about you?
So
who
you
your
took
3 and then your dark horse?
So you took my dark horse, not as a dark.
Oh,
horse.
really?
You took my dark horse, not as a dark horse, which I'm a little disappointed that you did.
Okay, go
but
ahead.
That's fair. That's fair. So mine, I'll pick 3 others. I think Hero Wyatt. I mean, this kid might be the best player in the state, hands down. He has the best stuff. Scouts are going to be flooding to go watch him pitch for Staples this year. I think he's just going to be really good. I wanted to take Kip too, but I won't.
It's too easy.
Another top player. Excuse me. God, you took my guys. So this is harder than I thought.
You should have let me.
I should have just went first. I should have just went first and taken everybody. But I'm going to go with Ryan Preseason from Fairfield Prep, Wake Forest commit. Preseason, really good player. Pitch, hits, plays the infield. I think he is really one of the guys. If Fairfield Prep has a really good year, I think it's going to start with him. So that's my second one. My third one. This is tough. And this you know what? This is going to pain me as Mr. Anti-CCC. But yeah. I'm going to go with Colin Crowley, the shortstop from Southington. I think he's really talented. The coach loves him up there. Thinks he's one of the best players in the state. I'm excited to see, right, that sophomore to junior year is the big one. I like him there. And then my dark horse for player of the year, I'm going to say TJ Wynn. I saw that kid
I love that.
many
That's
times
great.
As a sophomore. And
so you're going with 2 CCC kids. Then.
I'm going with 2
Look
CCC
at you,
kids.
Mr. CCC.
I know. New year, new me. But I think TJ, if he could get back to that level that he was as a sophomore, and obviously he's 2 years older, he's coming back from the injury. I really think that he is an absolute stud. And I think, he's going to be the leader of that group. And I think it's going to start and stop with him. I was going to take Garrett Larson as my dark horse, just because I love Garrett Larson is one of my favorite players to cover. And I think he's going to be that guy that fills that void for Fairfield Ward. I've seen that kid get hit in the face with a ball 4 times, and he has never come out of the game. Against West Hill, he got popped in the face. Against Trumbull, I think he got popped in the face. In another game, he got hit with the ball where you thought he was going to come out. Guys are getting warmed up. He's pushing him back. He's like, nah, I'm good. That West Hill game, which they won at Cubetta in extra, Broderick versus Kip, it was an unbelievable game. There was a throwdown in between the innings, and all of a sudden I turn around and Garrett Larson's on the floor. And I'm like, 'cause I'm up in the press box. I'm like, what the hell happened? It was the throwdown. It hit him. He got up, waved, he talked to the trainer, talked to Brett, waved off the other guy, went, played a great game the rest of the way, helped the team win an extra. It was He was going to be my dark horse, but you made him one of your top three, so I guess I can't pick him as my dark horse now. But there's so much talent, and you know what? It's probably going to be one of the guys we haven't even mentioned.
Exactly. It's going to be someone that we don't even talk about. I understand that we are going to do a draft with our guests every week.
We are.
Of something fun to
do.
So there'll be a different topic every week. Pete and I are going to get it started this week without a guest, but we're going to have a draft. What draft are we doing this week?
We're going to do the best plays in baseball. So it's going to be.
I like that.
Yes, it's going to be a snake draft. So if you go first, then you go like fourth or whatever it is. I put our names in a randomizer. There's only two. Okay. So the first pick goes to Scott. Then it'll go me, then Scott, and we're gonna go that way. It'll be a lot more fun with a guest, but we're gonna get it started now. So yeah, we're gonna do 5 best plays in baseball. You could get specific with it. It could be kind of broad, but you know, I want to stick to plays like an action in the game. Yeah. But you can get like a little specific with it if you want, but not like so and so is pitching and so is hitting and it's number
no,
number
general.
Two, yeah. Are you ready with the first overall pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna surprise you with what it is because everyone thinks it's gonna be a home run, right? No. Suicide squeeze.
Ooh.
You get a runner from third, breaking for home. Kid has to get the bunt down, gets the bunt down, guy comes sliding in, suicide squeeze, number 1 pick.
Clearly, you were at Fairfield Ward practice yesterday because they do that more than anybody that I've seen, especially in big spots. And my guy Griffin Polly does it. All right, so with the number 2 pick, I am going to take strikeout looking. Like a pitcher getting a guy looking on a strikeout. I love that. There's nothing better than hitting it on the corner. The ump does the pump, and before the batter even knows what hit him, the ball is down at third base getting thrown around. With the 3rd overall pick, I'm going to go with a home run. I mean, it is one of the coolest things that you can do. I did it once in my entire life, and it was awesome. Like over the fence, because when you got to run it out, that's exhausting. So a home run over the fence, you get to jog around a little bit. Everyone's clapping for you. You're like, yeah, I'm the man. Problem for me, my dad brought me in the next inning to close the game, and I blew it, and we lost. So, Scott, you're up with the 4th pick.
Do I get 2 picks or just one?
You get 2.
Okay, my first one is an RBI triple because you're driving in a run. You're going to slide head first into third. You're going to get up. You're going to celebrate with your dugout. You're going to celebrate with your third base coach. I love triples. RBI triples especially are my favorite. So I'm going with that as the 4th pick. And then I'm going to go with a great outfield catch, like a diving Superman saving runs outfield catch as my number 5 pick.
Okay. Those are all very good. I'm going to stick with one that I had already picked, but it's going to be different, but it's going to be strikeout swinging, right? When you get, as a pitcher, when you get to pull the string on a curveball down in the dirt and you get that batter biting, catcher picks it up. Maybe they tag him, just to be sure. Love that. And then with the 7th overall pick, I love me some triples. I love, some extra base hits, but I'm going to take a nice scoop at first base.
Ooh, a scoop.
Nice clean scoop by the first baseman, not ideal, but the first baseman with the nice stretch reads it right, scoops it, maybe holds it up in the air like a hockey goalie, like, ooh, look what I just did. That is so freaking cool.
And it looks easy, and it's not.
It is not. You should watch me. You should watch me play softball. It is not that easy.
All right, my next 2, and then you get one last one.
Yep.
I'm gonna go 5-4-3 double play.
Ooh.
Hot shot to third, right to second, right to first. Bang that one out. 5-4-3 double play. That's mine. And then one more. I'm gonna go with the stolen base, just a straight stolen base. Like, you read the pitcher, you get a good jump, and you're in there.
All right. My last one, I was, you know what? I was going to be boring and just go with a lovely sacrifice bunt. Like, give yourself up, move the runner over, team guy. You get to hit the helmets on the way in. Everyone's picking you up because you did your job, but you kind of turned me on the double play. Get it? Turn, double play. Boom. I'm going to take an outfield relay to a cutoff man thrown out at the plate. Like a 9-3-2 out at the plate. You know, basement to right field.
That could easily have been the number one pick. That is, as exciting of a play as you have.
That's the best. There is nothing. You work on relays all the time. You work on relays all the time.
You can shoot a guy at home from the outfield.
Oh, it's incredible. So I'm going to go with like a 9-3-2 put out at the plate for my final pick. That was a good draft.
Oh, that was great, man. You thought it wasn't going to be fun. That was totally fun. And we have people on, when we have coaches and stuff on, it's going to be more fun. We're going to have 3 people doing it. All different topics. If you have a topic that you want us to do, send it in.
Yeah, let us know. What are before we wrap up, because we're going to talk about guests. What are some guests that you want to have on the show? Let's speak it into existence.
Speak it into existence. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to have my dude Josiah Ross on if I can get some players on here. Coaches, obviously, we want to talk to Brett Connor. You know, it's always fun to talk to Jack McFarland. Got
to get Romanelli on from North Haven.
Romanelli, from North Haven. Absolutely. Travis is always great from Hand. I'd love to have Sean Ratchford on, actually, from Danbury. That guy has a wealth of baseball knowledge. He's been around forever, and we've never had him on the show. So
you know who we've never had
Sean
on?
Ratchford from Danbury. That's what I want.
You know who I really want to have on the show, and I don't think it'll ever happen? Sal Coppola from Amity. I love Sal. Sal's one of the best coaches in baseball.
Was Sal on that round table?
No, Sal could not make it. They had a game that day that got rained out the night before. I'd love to get Sal on. There's so many good coaches in this state that I'd love to have on. What would be like a big guess, like your unicorn? Not like maybe not connected to high school baseball right now, but maybe once before, like your unicorn guess. Let's speak that one into existence.
Oh, man. You know who I'd like to have on? I wrote a story about him last year. He plays for the Savannah Bananas now from New Milford High School. Jackson Olson. That's who I want.
We got to get Jackson on. We got to get Jackson on.
Dude was so great with his time last year. Has 1 million followers on TikTok, and he plays for the Bananas. And just an all-around great guy.
He played at New Milford, was a coach's all-state selection, and he played at New Milford.
And he played at the University of Hartford, too.
Yeah, when they were Division I. He would
Who's
be
yours?
Awesome. Mine, you know who I'd love to have on? We probably should have done this 2 years ago because it would have been fun, but he wouldn't have done it because of potential NCAA violations. Would be Jim Penders. I think Penders would be awesome to have on this podcast. And the only reason I say that, about 2 years ago, so his son played for East Catholic, obviously, Hank, but Frankie was a commit to UConn. So I don't know if he would have been able to talk about Frankie while he was on the show. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to, it
would have to be more of a general talk, I think.
Yeah, but I would love to have Jim Penders on. We had Jim Mora on the football podcast, which was really fun. So I'd love to get Penders on. Any of the college coaches. Shea at Southern would be really cool. His kid played at Notre Dame West Haven, so he knows, high school baseball in Connecticut. Obviously, he recruits it as well. But I would love to get them on. I think that would be a lot.
And when you look at Fairfield, Quinnipiac, their rosters, Southern, they're all Connecticut kids. I mean, mostly Connecticut kids, not all, but a lot of Connecticut kids. A lot of Connecticut kids doing really well there.
Think we get like Kirk Casale on, when he's not busy playing in the majors?
That would be awesome.
Or like Matt Barnes.
That would be incredible. The only player from New Canaan to ever make the MLB, Kirk Casale. Let's go with him.
Let's get if Bethel gets out to a really good start this year, I will reach out to Matt Barnes, because Barnes from Bethel, played at Bethel, was all state for us when he was at Bethel, obviously went to UConn, is in the big leagues now. If Bethel gets off to a hot start, I think we try and track down Matt Barnes to get him on the show.
I think Barnes donated a lot of stuff to the Bethel Little Leagues, whatever, but we had a youth tournament up there last year with my son's team, and his picture's like on all the batting cages and like, thank you to Matt Barnes for this and that. And I think he must have made a huge donation to the thing. And he's always been really connected back to Connecticut.
A lot of the guys are. It's really cool.
Done well in MLB,
All right. So
we hope that some of these guys someday are playing in the majors.
So don't forget about us when you guys make it big.
No, don't forget about Connecticut. They usually like to talk about it, how they played Northeast baseball and played in Connecticut and came out of here. But this was really fun to get back on the air with Pete. I know Pete's enjoying it, and we're going to be back every week. We'll decide on a day, but we'll be back every week and talk about baseball all season. We're excited to see you. We're excited to see your games. Reach out to us with any ideas that you have for us. We're just happy to be back. Okay, for Pete, I'm Scott. We'll see you next time on High and Tight.
Love you all.